Welcome back to Katana TCG. In this week's early deck preview, we're taking a look at Kyurem VMAX, which comes out in our Lost Origin set that is right around the corner. When it's time to flex on your opponents in Top Cut this season, or even just upgrade your TCG accessories, make sure you're checking out inkgaming.com. They have a wide variety of custom playmats, custom dice bags, face masks, as well as mouse pads too, and a grip of sleeves and dice and deck boxes, all your TCG accessory needs. And you can use the code DADSPOD10 at checkout for 10% off your entire order from inkgaming.com. Your game, your style. Although Kyurem VMAX might not be the most playable card or the most threatening to the current standard format, there are so many different ways to play it, and I really don't think any of them are incorrect. So today we're back on our stuff where we're going to show off a couple different ways to play it. So we'll kind of dive into what the card does, and then I'll give you a quick overview of how each of these different lists play just a little bit differently, but still give Kyurem that competitive edge to make it feasible in the standard format. In this list, we're going to start off with, we have Kyurem partnered with none other than Origin Form Palkia V-Star. Kyurem V is a 220 HP water Pokemon weak to Steel, which provides a super reasonable balance to Palkia, which unfortunately is weak to Lightning. Its attack instant freeze for 1 water energy allows you to attach any number of water energy cards from your hand to your Pokemon any way you like, and this means you can attach it to any of your Pokemon, turning any of them into attackers the following turn, which is super powerful. And for 3 water energy, it does Frost Smash for 140 damage, which is still pretty respectable. Kyurem VMAX is a 330 HP VMAX Pokemon with the ability Ice World. Once during your turn, you may discard the top card of your deck, and if it's a water energy, attach it to one of your Pokemon. Again, any of your Pokemon. This ability heavily steers into one of my absolute favorite ways to play decks in the current standard format. This is what I refer to as the over-under, where you use cards to control what cards you have on top of your deck, using things like Oranguru with its Primate Wisdom ability, things like Rotom Phone and Switch Cups allow you to put cards on top of your deck or switch cards from your hand with the top card of your deck, allowing you to control what that top card is. Then applying the Ice World ability, you have full control over making sure that top card is a water energy. The Ice World ability already has a tremendous amount of synergy with its attack Max Frost. For 3 water energy, it does 120 damage plus. You discard any number of water energy attached to this Pokemon, and it does 50 damage more. So if you're discarding 3 water energy, you're hitting that perfect 270 number, which does unfortunately put you just shy of most V-Star in the format, but we play things like Choice Belt to get around that crazy math. Or you could just attach another water energy and get well over that threshold. Using things like Star Portal on Palkia V-Star allows you to put 3 energy onto any of your water Pokemon, so immediately between using up to 3 Ice World abilities per turn, a Star Portal, your hand attachment plus Melanie, you're putting upwards of 8 energy into play per turn, obviously with a perfect hand, but that has a tremendous amount of potential to blow up very large targets like Duraludon VMAX and take huge knockouts. Origin Form Palkia V-Star is also a great secondary attacker. For 2 water energy, it does Subspace Swell, and it does 60 plus damage, and it does 20 more damage for each bench Pokemon in play, including yours and your opponents. We also teched in a 1 of Empoleon, and this is going to be kind of a reoccurring theme for us because we're able to set it up with ease between things like Star Portal, Melanie, as well as our good friend Kyurem VMAX's Ice World ability. We're specifically using Empoleon V for its ability Emperor's Eyes. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent's basic Pokemon without a rule box do not have abilities. This thing has the ability to swing through things like Miltank. It turns off the Lunatone Solrock deck. It really slows down the turbo decks that are utilizing Celebration's Mew's Mysterious Tail ability, and it's just an overall good tech card. And it also has an attack for 1 water and 2 colorless Swirling Slice. It deals 130 damage, and you move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. In most instances, it would be helpful to just move it onto a Kyurem so that you can blow up a target the following turn. Nothing else super spicy in this list, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next way to really apply Kyurem VMAX. In this next list, we're going to be using what is obviously the best energy accelerator in the standard format in the form of Arceus V and V Star. Allowing you to accelerate 3 energy onto any of your Pokemon V is an immediate benefit to things like Kyurem VMAX being able to already set up 3 energy to potentially accelerate a couple more with Ice World, and things like Melanie the following turn immediately gives it a tremendous power buff. We do include 2 Oranguru to control the top deck, using the Primate Wisdom ability, allowing you to switch 1 card out of your hand with the top card of your deck to promise that water energy acceleration with Ice World. But in this deck, it's a little bit more streamlined, utilizing things like Pokegear to get into your Melanies, to get into your high counter bosses orders, playing 1 Choice Belt but 2 Big Charm to kind of have a tankier advantage with this Kyurem deck. Seems to be a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more basic. You still have the potential to blow up very large targets by accelerating a lot of energy onto your Kyurem VMAX. But this has to be probably the most boring way to play Kyurem, which leads us to the next build, which is a little bit spicier. What good would a Katana TCG video be without something just a little bit spicy and a little bit crazy? I can't take full credit for this list. This is loosely based on a list that did win a 75 player tourney in Japan, and it had me very, very excited to see just the variety of ways you can play Kyurem. In this specific list, we are running a 2-2 line of Kyurem VMAX for the big damage output potential, but we do also run 2 Glaceon V, 1 V Star, and then 1 Glaceon VMAX. The strategy here is really just to understand the matchup you're about to play and apply whatever Pokemon you need specifically for that matchup. If you're trying to blow up big things like Arceus, Palkia, maybe things along the lines of Mew VMAX, you're probably going to want to streamline the Kyurem VMAX, but the Glaceon V is also kind of spicy. For 1 water energy, you have the ability to search for a card that evolves from this Pokemon and put it directly on top of it. So going second, you can basically finish your turn by evolving. And then for 1 water and 2 colorless, it does heavy snow for 120, and it discards a stadium in play. And the Glaceon VMAX, which has been severely underplayed in the current standard format with its ability Crystal Veil, you prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon VMAX, except for Glaceon VMAX, which I'm sure you're not going to see a whole lot of in the mirror. Unfortunately, this is again a victim of Duraludon VMAX, which does unfortunately swing through that ability, but its attack for 1 water and 2 colorless max Icicle deals 150 damage, and it does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, which is cool because we can soften things up to come and clean up the board with Kyurem VMAX, and you can set up any of these water attackers with that wonderful Ice World ability that we've been talking about so much. In this specific list, it's really important to make sure you don't have things like Path to the Peak in play, because we do rely on quite a bit of abilities. So we do play 3 Training Core as well as the Lost Sweeper item card. You have to take a card from your hand and put it into the Lost Zone, but you can delete a tool or a stadium from play. And this card is easily accessible with our high count of things like Irida, allowing us to grab a water Pokemon, which we play so very many of, and an item card. So you have opportunities to really take control over the board state, and you have so many different options to kind of navigate how you're going to go about your matchups. It does seem a little bit wonky, but Kyurem, being not the most playable VMAX that's coming out in the next set, has so many options, and that's what I really, really like about it. Overall, I'm going to say playing it with something along the lines of Palkia V-Star is going to be the most effective, because Palkia is probably the best secondary attacker that you can put into any deck in the current standard format. Kyurem VMAX may not be the most appetizing card that's coming out in our Lost Origin set. However, I think it has a lot of untapped potential, and I think it would be a lot of fun to play, especially with the Oranguru Scoop Up Net engine, being able to promise that top deck to use the Ice World ability to accelerate energy. Just seems like a really fun time and a really sneaky way to get energy into play without utilizing a supporter or things like Arceus V-Star. If you enjoy my content, make sure you like the video, comment which deck you want me to talk about next week below, and then subscribe to my channel and turn your notifications on. That way you get an alert every time I post something like an early deck preview or any other content I may upload to my channel. Make sure that you're checking out the Pokedads podcast, where we talk about all things Pokemon all the time. And if you're a listener of the Pokedad podcast already, make sure you're joining the Pokedad Patreon as well, where you get access to our full Discord community, entry to our monthly tournaments that rotate between Standard, Expanded, and GLC, and a bunch of other discounts that we offer our PokéDad Patreon. Look forward to seeing you guys next time. Deuces. And what good would a Katana TCG early deck preview be without something stupid?